Before we get into this episode, if you've been holding back, overthinking every word, or feeling like your voice just isn't landing the way you want it to, then I got something for you. I've called it Say It Like You Mean It, the 5-Day Confidence Challenge, and I designed this to help you stop second guessing, help you own your voice, and help you finally say what you mean with confidence. For 5 days, I'm going to be sending you quick, no BS action steps right to your email inbox. They're going to help you sound like you, not a watered down version of someone else. Speak up without that spiral, no more overthinking or holding back. Help you share your message clearly and confidently because your people are waiting and they need to hear it. And help you tap in a confidence that actually sticks. So if you are done with playing small, being scared over speaking up, let's do this. You can head to heykayla.com/challenge, or you can also check out the link in the show notes, hit the sign up button, and I'll see you inside. Hey there, and welcome to the Hey Kayla podcast. I am your host, Kayla Evans, and today we're going to be chatting about the power and the importance and the magic that happens when you follow your gut. And the reason this came about for me is, like you have one of those moments where like you've seen something a million times, you've done something like a million times, and then just like one day it suddenly hits different. Well, that's what happened to me this week. So inside the lid of the Work Your Light Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell, there's a phrase and it says, "You are the Oracle." I see it every time I pull a card. It's nothing new. I use this deck almost every single day, but for some reason, like it just clicked and it resonated with me on like a whole different level. And it made me think about something that I've really been telling my clients, especially over the last like year and a bit. You don't need anyone else's roadmap, right? Like your gut, your intuition, your soul, like that's your GPS. It's already inside of you. The answers, the guidance, the direction, like it's all there. You don't need a permission slip, a perfect plan, or somebody else to tell you exactly how to do it. You just need to quiet the noise, trust yourself. I always say, trust your inner magic, illuminate your inner magic, and take the next step, and then the next one, and then the next one after that. And just like a side note, like I didn't always know this. Like when I first, like year one in my business, I fell into the trap of like going to all those webinars and all those free workshops online. And I followed like 2 or 3 of these really strong, like boss babe, girl bosses who are awesome. Yes. But I was getting like roadmaps and blueprints that worked for them and probably work for a ton of other people, but they weren't working for me. So I definitely fell into that trap. So this is a lesson like I had to learn the hard way. And maybe I'll save that for like another day, another podcast episode. But this podcast episode, I want to talk about like when you're in it, right? When you're going for something, but you're overthinking, you're second guessing, you're wondering if you're doing it right? Like it's so easy to forget that you already know, because this really does happen all the time. And like, not just to me, not just to my clients, but so many of us walking around, right? You maybe get an opportunity or you get the spark of an idea. This is usually where I see it happen with my clients. Like they get this opportunity or this idea, right? For their passion project or their side hustle or something that they want to do with their coaching business. And they're not quite sure what road to take. And like sometimes it's really small. For me, sometimes it's even something like just deciding what to wear in the morning. And then other times for other people, like it can be really massive. Like if you're trying to figure out your next career move, or again, you want to launch something in your coaching business, like sometimes they're a lot bigger. But it kind of runs the gamut and it affects so many people. So that's why I'm jabbing my jaws about it today. And on the more bigger scale of things, like a few years ago, story time, I found myself in one of those moments. I was stuck in a toxic job. I knew deep down that my time there was done. And I mean, I've talked about this before. It was kind of a dark period for me. I was unhappy. I was drained, and I knew something had to change. So what I did at first, and I don't think I've ever told this story to anybody outside of my immediate family, but what I originally did was I put some feelers out. I mentioned to a couple of my friends in TV and radio and different places, that I was open to something new. I was thinking they could probably tap into their networks and see what was out there. I wanted to see what was what. And sure enough, I got 2 incredible job offers that like landed right in front of me. One was local and one that would take me back out west. And both were amazing. The roles were exactly what I would have wanted. The people were great. I'd worked with some of them before. My friends were already at both stations. The salary was solid. The perks were all there. Even like there was a guy I was dating at the time. He was like fully on board. He told me like if I wanted to move out west, like he'd come with me. I had the green light to choose either one. It was good. But at first I was really stressed out, right? Like how do you choose between 2 really great opportunities? And then I got really quiet. I am a meditator. So I was meditating and I started to tune into what actually lit me up. Like I got really quiet. And then I realized there's a third option, one that I hadn't really fully considered yet. It had kind of been in the back of my own mind, and that was starting my own company, right? The idea had been percolating there forever, but I hadn't really let myself go there until I did. So again, I meditate 15 to 20 minutes every morning. And I always recommend other people meditate as well, especially like if you're searching for answers or you're trying to figure out something really tough in your life. But even just 5 minutes of quiet time to check in with yourself will work. Like you don't have to go 15, 20 minutes like I do. So I was sitting there, and in that silence, like that's when that answer came through loud and clear. If I took one of those new jobs, I would give it my all because that's who I am. I'd throw myself into being the best on-air personality, the best brand, the best human being for that network. And as much as I would have thrived, it would have drained the energy that I needed to build something of my own. I knew that moving, you got to settle into a new city, you have to adjust to a new job, dentist, doctor, all those things. It would take all of my time and all of my focus that I then wouldn't be able to put into launching my business. And that's when it clicked. Like I wanted to, sound silly, I wanted to conserve my time, energy, and creativity for something a little bit bigger, something that was mine. Staying where I was, building my own thing made the most sense to me. So that's when I made my decision. That's when I started taking action. So I started blogging more. That's when I started reaching out to people I knew in the nonprofit sector, offering, my public speaking support for free just to get experience in that space. I put myself out there. I took really small, but important steps. Like looking back on it, like those were huge steps, but at the time they felt small, and they were. And one by one, like things started unfolding. And now, like here we are. This is who I am. This is what I do. So if you're thinking something, you want to go for something, or something's been percolating in your mind, or maybe you've got some options, you don't know if you should stay, you should go in any realm of your life. Here are 2 ways that I would suggest that you really quiet the noise and hear your own intuition more clearly. And I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive for me to be like, listen to yourself more than anybody else, because I am a coach and I coach other coaches. But at the end of the day, I feel like my job is to equip you with like the skills and the tools and the tips and tricks that you need. But at the end of the day, if something doesn't work for you, even if it's something that works for me and I teach it to you, and if you're like, nah, I don't want to do that, then don't. I want you to do what works best for you. I've always stood by that. I've always believed in that. And again, I had to learn that kind of the hard way. Financially, I had to learn that the hard way. And again, I will tell that story another day. But here are 2 ways that I think, 2 easy ways that anybody can really get kind of clear and tune into, whether you want to call it like your intuition, your soul, your gut. I call it your inner magic, like 2 easy things that you can do. And the first thing, just talked about it, meditating, like get still and listen. You may not realize it, but we get really caught up in the external, right? We're scrolling, we're consuming, we're analyzing, we're working, that we forget to listen to ourselves. Like even when we're driving, we're listening to music or podcasts. When we're in the shower, like I always listen to podcasts. Like we always have something on TV on in the background. If we work from home, we're always listening to someone else or something else. How many of us actually quiet down and listen to ourselves? If you want to hear your own wisdom, you got to make the space for it. And again, I'm not saying you have to meditate for hours or even 20 minutes, unless that's your thing. It can be as easy as taking 5 minutes in the morning. Just sit in silence, or go for a walk without your phone. We'll take your phone with you for safety, but like don't listen to anything. Or even if you just step outside, you're letting your dogs out in the morning, mid-afternoon break, or evening before bed, go stand outside in the yard with them, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. Stillness is what's going to create that clarity, right? You don't need a fancy meditation practice. Just carve out a few minutes, sit with yourself, breathe, listen, and let whatever needs to come through. Don't try to force anything. Just listen to what's trying to come through. Try it. You'll love it. I promise. And the second thing is, I kind of briefly touched on this too when I said I took small steps at the time, but turns out they were the big things. I want you to follow what feels right to you and follow what feels expansive. So feel your feelings, like your body, how things feel. If you're thinking a thought and you feel excited about it, or it feels light, it makes you feel alive, that could be a sign that this is something that's going to expand you. Even if you're like scared excited, I always am scared excited, but I'm just a little bit more excited that I am scared, right? To try something new, to go out there, to leap off the cliff. pay attention to how things feel. Now, on the other hand, if something makes you feel small or stuck or heavy, it's probably not for you. And I do get this question a lot. People are like, well, I'm scared. Does that mean don't do it? No, 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 no. If you get quiet, and again, with the meditating, this will help you kind of discern between the two. There's a difference between like being scared, this is a bad idea. It grips you with fear. Like if you get still and you get quiet and you really listen to your soul, your thoughts, and then you feel into your body, you will know the difference between something that's I don't want to do that. Again, that feels heavy and scary. And something that's like, oh, this could be hard or challenging, but I'm excited for what's on the other side of it. There's that excited, scared. You will definitely notice the difference. It may take a little while for you to kind of get accustomed to the two different feelings, but trust me, if you get quiet, you get still and listen, you'll be able to tell the difference. Because even if something is logically making more sense, like I had those 2 great job offers, lots of stability, which sounds crazy saying that in this day and age, but there was a lot of stability there. And both of those job options were great, but when I thought about them, they did feel heavy. And it wasn't like excited heavy. It was like heavy, like, oh, you may regret doing this. Whereas even though starting my own company was exciting, scary, it was still exciting. So that's kind of how I knew the difference there. So even if something like starting your own business it's scary. It's not really the logical thing to do. Taking a guaranteed job is a logical thing to do. But I trusted my feeling. I trusted like my inner magic talking. And then on the opposite side, the opposite side of things. Oh my gosh. If something doesn't make logical sense, like if it's not part of your plan, if it's just like, where did that come from? But you're still excited about it, trust that feeling, right? So don't force an answer. Just pay attention to what excites you, what energizes you, like what keeps pulling at your attention. Oh, that's such another good one. Okay, come on, words. That's another good one. The idea of starting my own company, like that, I think it was 2016 or 2017 where I first had that seedling of the idea. It pulled on me that entire time at the back of my mind, but it was always there. I trusted that to be my soul. Like that was my inner magic, like tapping me on the shoulder, like, okay, don't forget. Let's do this. And I trusted it. So that's another good thing I want to throw out there. If something's been on your heart or in your mind or in your soul for a long time and it just keeps tapping you on the shoulder, trust it. Because again, just like the Rebecca Campbell card deck box says, you are the oracle. Like you already have what you need. We hear that all the time, but I don't think we really trust in that. And I don't think we cultivate it. So 2 easy ways you can cultivate it. Get still and listen, and then follow what feels expansive to you. You got the wisdom. You have the inner voice. You have that power inside of you. You just have to trust it. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're ready. They don't know you. You know you better than you know you. Even if you have a spouse, you have a best friend since like kindergarten, no one will ever know you as well as you know yourself. So stop looking outside of yourself for that validation, for that go ahead. Stop polling 1,000 people. I used to do this too. When I first started my business, I would ask like 10 people and some of them weren't even business owners. So some of them, I love them. They're trusted friends and they could give me life advice, but they're not going to give me business advice because they've never ran their own company and they haven't even managed people either. Right. So stop polling, you know what I mean? Like stop asking 10,000 people for what their, feelings or thoughts are. You already know. If something doesn't fit you, listen to yourself and go with what does. That magic, it's in you. We've heard that time and time again. It's always been there. You just need to trust it. So do those 2 things, whatever you're kind of caught up on or whatever you're hanging on to, get still and listen. So do some meditation and then follow what feels expansive. And again, huge reminder, if it's exciting, scary, still go for it, even if the fear is there. I've got lots of podcast episodes about dealing with fear, dealing with nerves. You can go back and take a listen, but just listen to yourself and please go do what you came here to do. And that's it. That's all I got to say today. So if you love this chat, please share it with a friend who might need it. Don't forget, I'm also running that 5-day confidence challenge. I'm going to help you speak up and show up and say what you mean without the second guessing. Listen to your gut. So it's super simple, no fluff. I'm just going to be dropping into your email inbox every morning for 5 days with a quick, simple daily action step going to help you sound like you, stop overthinking every word, show up, share your message with confidence. So if that sounds like something you need, come join me. You can head to heykayla.com/challenge, or I've also linked it in the show notes if you want to check it out. And with that, thank you so much as always for hanging out with me, and I hope you have the best week.